So yeah, it was a very healthy atmosphere musically. And at the time we were living in Puerto Rico. I was born in Cuba originally, but I grew up in Puerto Rico. Any Puerto Ricans in the house? Yeah, right. I love that island. So anyway, I was getting exposed to all the different styles of music, and it was pleasant. I was enjoying it very much. Until one day, I'm listening to the radio, and myself listening to some rock, some pop music. All of a sudden, I got hit by a special sound, a very special sound, a very special song. And I didn't realize at that moment I was being introduced to one of the biggest bands in the world called the Beatles. Anybody know the Beatles? All right. So yeah, right there, I was listening to A Hard Day's Night. And all of a sudden, I felt something inside. I remember going to my dad and said, "Dad, please, if you could get me this album from these guys, I really like their music." So sure enough, we went ahead, got the album. But that wasn't enough. Right there, I said, I need to do something these guys are doing. Because I love what I'm hearing, and it's amazing. So not only did he buy me a very small classical guitar, but also he got me a guitar teacher. Okay, so there my whole experience in music started. And it was, at the moment, my dad thought it was a hobby. But deep down inside, I knew this was much more than just a hobby. It was like, it would later become a lifelong commitment. And every day that passed, I started getting more into it, listening to more music. One advice I have for the kids, all the kids that are listening, one of my advices to you is listen to as much music as you can. It's through the listening of music, through the different styles, through the different experiences of music that you start developing your own style and your own commitment to music. So one of the main focuses is listen to music as much as you can. So I get my guitar, speak to a couple of the friends in the neighborhood. One of them also played guitar and the other one semi-drums. I remember we formed a trio and the drummer was playing in boxes. We had the guitars and so we started our little adventure here. We started moving along and all of a sudden, one of the guys in the trio, his really good friend, Manolo Badrena, shows up at one of our rehearsals, a really, really good drummer. And he liked what we were doing, and sure enough, he became part of the band afterwards. This guy, he had a real drum set, so it was a nice experience. At the moment, Manolo comes over to me and says, "Manny, I feel that we're ready." And I go, "What do you mean we're ready?" He goes, "You and me, I think we're ready." And for a couple of years, Manolo was a couple of years older than me at the time. I must have been 12, 13 years old. So he goes, "We're ready to move on." And I go, "Well, good. I'm glad." "No, you don't understand me. We're ready to move on." We're living in Puerto Rico at the time, to move to New York. And I go, "Move to New York?" "Yeah, let's just get up and go." I said, "Does your dad know about this?" And he goes, "No, he doesn't. I'm just going to go." I said, "Listen, if I tell my dad I'm going eloping to New York, he's going to ground me for the rest of my life. You know? That is out of the question totally." So sure enough, he left. And I later found out that Manolo was the percussion player for Weather Report. It's a jazz band. I don't know if you heard, a very, very important jazz band. Then later he played with Michael Franks. Anyway, he went on his own. Here at this point, my passion for music started growing exponentially. Now the little rehearsals are getting bigger. I'm growing by leaps and bounds. My guitar lessons are a little bit more involved. I start practicing more. Again, practice makes perfect. You got to keep on practicing, keep on perfecting your talent, and that is a way to really get to the next level when you're doing music or any other career by that means. Anyway, now progressions, voicings in my guitar are becoming my companion. My guitar I would never leave my guitar alone. I remember my dad had to come over and hide the guitar from me because, well, what about school? Thank God that I was a decent student, okay? But it was a passion that I just could not get over. Little by little, I started I started growing in my instrument, practicing, and now music was taking a spot that I knew that was going to be it for the rest of my life. That was going to be my career. Even though my dad was supporting me, he was really happy that I was doing this, but deep down inside he didn't know how serious it was. So now we started working, playing more. We started doing the little gigs around the neighborhood. Now the band, we had a drummer, now we had gigs around the neighborhood, and we were really doing what we loved to do. I mean, I was dreaming for the weekend so I could go out and perform with my friends. Anyway, you have to, again, for the kids, you have to try to develop a unique sound when you're doing your instrument or you're singing. I heard some really nice voices back there. Really good. I congratulate you guys because you guys are doing amazing. Some really, really good talent here. So you got to develop that to develop a specific sound. Because, you know, it's great. You're always going to be influenced by other artists. For the piano players here, I personally love jazz music. And you got piano players like Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea. I mean, these are names that these kids probably don't know. Maybe some of you don't even know them either, but amazing. And this is incredible how these people can influence your style and your way of moving in the music field. Now, this unique sound is sometimes, and your unique style, and your unique sound is more important than the playing perfect instrument. Having great technique, it's essential, but having the unique sound, there is no measure compared to that. You gotta be identified. You know, you hear, for example, a singer like Shakira. You can tell a mile away that it's Shakira because of her personal style. I'm personally not crazy about that style. But anyway, I hope she doesn't hear me because we had some word together. Anyway, that style is going to define you. It's going to take you to the next level if you're really serious about what you're doing. Again, whether you want to do this professionally, kids, whether you want to do it part-time or you want to do it as a hobby, I emphasize be the best you could be. And whatever you do, but now since we're talking about music, we're talking about that sublime, powerful magnet that is music. You got to do it to the best of your ability. It's an art form, and you're given that talent by God, so you got to be able to do whatever you were called to do. Okay, so make sure that anything you do, you develop your own personal style. One of the main points I want to emphasize here, among some others, it's great being an instrumentalist. It's great playing other people's music. That's how I started. That's how most musicians start. But deep down inside, you got to be worried about trying to create your own music. Either composing musically, melodically, and if you're not a great lyricist, find yourself a partner that is a great lyricist and try to blend together. Okay, because it's very important that you tell a story with the talent that you've been given. Music is storytelling, and I remember Juanito Marquez. He is a great producer friend of mine. He produced the album Mi Tierra for Miami Sound Machine, and he was also my producer in a couple of projects that I did. And Juanito told me, he gave me some really valuable messages. One of them was, you got to tell a story through a song, a whole film, a whole story in 4 minutes. So you got to be very specific, have a specific language, know how to reroute what your thoughts and your ideas. But please, kids, if you really want to take this seriously, writing your own music is essential. And I'll tell you why later. Anyway, Juanito also told me, as a songwriter, I know there's some songwriters in the audience here. Some of you kids are going to be amazing songwriters, right? Let's give these kids a round of applause, please. What they did was amazing. I really would love to encourage you guys to keep on doing what you're doing. Even if you're not going to be doing it professionally, it is great for the soul. It's the best medicine for the soul, so keep on doing it, guys. So another thing he told me, when you're songwriting, when you're doing lyrics, for example, make sure, because when you start writing music, it happened to me, you start writing and you want to be so poetic, and you want to be so ethereal, you want to be so mystical, that you forget the point. You got to write so that people understand, so that people identify with what you're doing. You got to be very specific, and this guy really gave me some really amazing advice. As a matter of fact, just a little anecdote, it's funny. I was writing at the time, I'm going ahead of myself a little bit. I started writing music, and all of a sudden, Juanito calls me up one day and he goes, "Hey Manny, I just got a call from Chile, Viña del Mar." Anybody know Viña del Mar in Chile? No, okay, well, oh yeah? Okay. That's one of the biggest music festivals in all Latin America, in Europe also. So he says, they call me and they selected one of your songs to be competing in the music festival in Viña del Mar. My reaction was not what he was expecting. I told him, "Juanito, I personally don't believe in music festivals having songs or having music competing back and forth. So I really don't want to go." So he insisted, "Man, you're going to make a lot of people, you're going to meet a lot of important people there. I suggest you really consider and go." Well, anyway, make a long story short, he convinced me. And thanks to Juanito, I went to Chile, we participated, and in this festival, I had, God knows what he does. I met my current wife, and we've been married for 36 years. I met her in Viña del Mar that year. As a matter of fact, she was one of the candidates for Miss Chile, and she was Miss Chile that year, so that was great. Juanito, I'll thank him forever, because I met a beautiful lady deep down inside. Anyway, later on, as I get to high school, I find out that a couple of friends in my class are also musicians. Okay, one of them played the piano, the other one played bass, the other drums. So anyway, we formed a very serious and bigger band at this point. I bumped into a friend, he also played sax, and he wanted to join the band. He brought over 2 trumpet players, a trombone player, so now we have this huge 9-piece band. Practicing like crazy again, very responsible with our lessons, with our practices. Everything was very, very, very organized. And before we knew it, we started playing in all these big events, graduations, fraternity parties, playing in the big hotels in San Juan. It was an amazing experience. And my dream and my passion for the craft was growing by leaps and bounds. Every day it was more and more. Anyway, I come up to my father because now in high school, I was preparing to go to college, I took my SATs and everything. So all of a sudden they call me from a music conservatory in San Juan, San Juan Music Conservatory, and they're offering me a full scholarship as a producer that I want to study production and writing. And on top of that, this lady was the manager of some of the artists in the island. I was singing at the time, of course. She wanted to represent me as an artist. So here I'm super excited. I go to my dad. That's why I'm happy that you guys are supporting your kids. He just basically told me, there is no way you're going to music conservatory. You're going to study a career. Dad, music is a career. Not in my book it isn't, and I don't want any musicians in my house. Now the supportive dad all of a sudden turns around and he says no. He wanted me to be either a doctor or engineer or whatever. So right there, that was a big drawback in my dreams right there. So anyway, to please him, I decided to go to college. And out of all the colleges and out of all the careers, I decided engineering. So I went to Georgia Tech. Anybody know Georgia Tech? A beautiful school in Atlanta. Anyway, I graduated from Georgia Tech. After 4 years, I go to him and I say, "Here's your diploma, Dad. Now I am going to do what I love to do, which is music." There's no way he can really, now he doesn't have any argument against me doing this, because that pleased him. I did, and I was very, very adamant about the fact that I'm going to be pursuing my calling now that I have met your demands, okay? Then after more guitar lessons, after more singing lessons, by the way, I took singing lessons with a lady called Gina Moretta. And to my surprise, I knew them before, but anyway, Gloria Estefan was the other student that was right before my lesson, so, we managed to get together. Later on, we met and I started recording in her studio for many years, in Emilio's studio. Now, after all these lessons and everything that's going on, I start forming this band, I start performing here and there, but all of a sudden I realized that I wanted more out of this. Playing in bands, playing in clubs, traveling around, it was great, but it was not enough. It's not what I wanted to do. So I decided to go on my own. I decided to start writing now seriously, because I've been writing for a while. I started writing seriously, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, I'm getting requests from artists that they wanted to hear some of my songs. And one thing led to another. Now these artists started recording my songs. And I remember telling my brother, I go, George, it's amazing. These people are paying me very handsomely sometimes for something that I would do for free. If they only knew how much I love to write music, I would give it away, but no. I'm being rewarded just like every other writer is. So right there, I start getting into an area where I see, wow, this is really something. And it's funny because I had some friends that were really talented, more talented than me, definitely. And for circumstances in life, they decided either they got married young or they felt that the music business was very difficult to break into, and they left. But something told me that I had to be persistent. Something told me, you cannot give up, you got to keep on trying. Don't give up, keep on trying, kids. Never give up if that's what your passion is. So I started working, and more songs were being recorded, more songs were being played, and all of a sudden, I see that people are really recognizing that I'm writing music. People are recognizing that, hey, this guy's for real. Because I really didn't believe it up to the point. I had the dream, but it was so difficult to get to at the time that all of a sudden I see, like Aldrin said, I had Ricky Martin, I had Jennifer Lopez, Celine Dion. Imagine writing music for Celine Dion, the greatest singer in the world, writing music for Mark Anthony, and all of this was like subliminal to me. It was like, I can't believe this is going on. It's for real now. Now this situation is for real. And Shakira, I remember traveling with Shakira, and her dream and her passion and her parents' passion was making it big. I remember one day Shakira comes over to my house, and she actually has an album that's called Pies Descalzo, like not wearing shoes, naked feet, basically. And I remember my small daughter, she must have been 5 or 6 years at the time, 6 years old, and she goes, because Shakira took her shoes off as she came into the house. And Camille starts pulling on me, why is this lady taking her shoes off in my house? I don't like that. She's like complaining. I go, Camille, relax, if she only knew. So anyway, I'm getting all these people, not only recording my music, but I'm also producing these people. Producing, anybody know what a producer does, basically? Just to sum it up, a producer just gets together all the parts, the musicians, the drummer, the bass, the guitar, whatever, and he puts them together in the studio. He goes with a singer, gets a key note for the singer, the correct, and he basically builds a song from scratch. And he produces the music, and that's how the album eventually is conceived. So anyway, I'm producing these people. Imagine singing, having Celine Dion singing right in front of you. Of course, she sang in Spanish, so I was like really guiding her to do the Spanish accent perfectly. Anyway, we started getting to this stage where all of a sudden my music, I start traveling and my music is being heard in different places. I'm really humbled by this, by the way. Believe me, up to this day, I really thank God for the things that were happening here. And traveling around and hearing that people are listening to your music, they're reacting to your music, and the music is being played in the different radio stations all over the place. And how do I know that it was being played all over the place? Because I'm a member of ASCAP. ASCAP is the American Association of Composers and Publishers. And I get a report from them every 6 months or so. So I get royalties from all these different countries. I mean, Japan, Australia, you name it. So I said, wow, it's amazing that these songs are being played out there. Also, Universal Music, it's a publishing company, Universal Music Pub. They manage also my mechanical rights. Every time the songs are being played and sold, either through Pandora or what is the other? Spotify. There you go. Yeah. So you're getting these results, and it's like, man, this is perfect. You know, keep on doing what you love. Up to this day, I still write music. I'm still producing, not as much as I used to, but I'm still doing what I love to do. And it's a great thrill. And, you know, through music, I've managed to meet people that I would have never, ever had the opportunity to meet if they hadn't been through this. For example, I was doing the soundtrack for a movie, Dance With Me, with Cheyenne and Vanessa Williams. I was in LA. And all of a sudden, one of the musical supervisors invites me to the Beverly Hills Hotel because George Martin, the Beatles producer, was putting together an album with famous artists with Beatles songs. So they invited me over. Imagine me getting to meet George Martin, one of my musical idols. So I had the opportunity to talk to him for 15 minutes there. It was great talking to this legend. Also getting to meet Kenny Loggins, getting to meet Cheyenne, many different people that I would have never been able to meet beforehand. Then, not only George Martin, but one day I'm at home, okay, and I just heard a little while ago they played a musical song by Journey, Don't Stop Believing. Don't stop believing, guys. Don't stop believing. Anyway, I'm at home and all of a sudden I get a phone call and the gentleman says, hi, Manny, I'm Jonathan Cain's manager. Okay, Jonathan Cain is the piano player for the band Journey, and he's the one that wrote all these big hits, Don't Stop Believing, Open Arms, etc., with Steve Sperry, who is a singer for Journey. So Jonathan wants to talk to you, puts him on, he goes, man, if you don't mind, I would love to fly down to Miami and get together so we could write some music together. Imagine that. I told my wife, only in a dream this could happen, you know? So I told him, you don't know how much I appreciate it and what a talent you guys have funded in me. I really, really look forward to doing that, and of course you're welcome down here. Because I wrote a song, Open Arms, I wrote the Spanish lyrics, so for Mariah Carey, she sang it, and Jonathan came to receive the copy, and he really liked the work that I did, so that's why he called me. And on, I got to meet some very, very special people that I would have never been able to meet beforehand. So I was also very involved in the crossover movement in the music industry. For example, Ricky Martin's song Maria, I wrote it in English. I wrote the Celine Dion songs, Open Arms. Also, I did a Spanish version. She sang in Spanish 2 songs that did really well. And other different artists, Mariah Carey also. I did it with Italian singers, with French singers. Anyway, the spectrum was growing and growing every time, even more. So anyway, my journey in the music business, in the music field, has been an amazing journey. It really has not only transformed the lives of many people through the music that all composers write, but it also transformed my life tremendously. I've been able to live a life that only in dreams could be imagined. So just to close up, the most important thing is not only the way you're going to influence and you're going to change people's lives, but the way your life is going to be changed, okay? And all I can say is don't give up. Don't let the flaws that you're making stop you from pursuing that dream. Keep on working. Keep on at it. Try to be better every day. Practice, and keep on practicing and believing in what you're doing. Follow your dream, and bring the essence of who you are through your music to other people around there. Last words, love what you do and do what you love. Thank you very much for your attention.